Hello, salutations,
And welcome
to the Danger Zone.
Danger Zone!
Danger Zone! Well, so I'm a little embarrassed to say that I just had a match with my Lumia deck against Dayman's new Lumia deck.
And
It didn't go so well for me. It really didn't.
I thought it went pretty good.
It's weird because this ruler's only from like the previous set, like the previous ones with like the decks that came out, and it's already so outclassed. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's not fast.
Solid color versus a dual color.
Yeah, and then one thing I've never done like a deck profile for this, so if I ever end up doing it, I might have to change a few things just to make it a little bit more current. But with Lumia, and I cannot for the life of me pronounce her name on the other side. Sure, whatever that name,
Yeah,
Cthulhu, Red Riding Hood chick. She just, the way that I've got the deck built and with her particular abilities, I've just got nothing that really deals with really aggressive J rulers. I've got stuff for Resonators for the most part, but just
It doesn't help that you're red-blue. If you're red-black, I'd say Black Moonbeam, but against Lumia, she's imperishable if you remove the thing, so you kind of need Deathscythe. So
yeah. And even when she flips my ruler, she only does 800 to Resonators, which is a pain in the ass, right? Because
she's a toned-down Sylvia.
yeah, but like Sylvia does it to anything, right? She does it to rulers. Okay, whatever. So this deck, and I will let Dayman take it away in a second here, is his Lumia. We already did one, but this is Lumia round 2, version 2.01. You know, I'm just gonna be pretentious.
Yeah.
Lumia 2.01. This is Lumia's Batman utility belt deck profile, because there are like a bazillion and one ways to win. Okay, Dayman, take it away.
Alright, so I'm going to start off with the Resonators. So the first one here is not super necessary. It's just I couldn't figure out what else to put in. So I put in 3 Rukh Eggs. Thank you. So, 0-2, when it dies, well, once it hits the grave, you search through your deck and grab a red Resonator. There's only one, or technically 2 red Resonators, but other than this, anyways, you grab it and you put it in your hand.
Not to mention the fact how ridiculously frustrating it is when you go attack, or you go and you want to designate a target and you're like, woo! Just kidding, get rid of it.
Yeah.
I definitely hate Guinevere because of that.
Yeah, and that's a nice little leeway into the next card is Guinevere, the Gill's Queen.
And how many are you running?
4. 4 of. So anyways, it is a 2/4 for 1. And you get to tap it and banish a Resonator, draw 2 cards, and discard a card. So as soon as it's not your turn, you're able to tap it and banish a Resonator and draw 2 and discard 1.
Yeah, pretty classic card. Dayman loves running this card in any deck that has red that has Resonators.
Always. The next card is Tama, Familiar of Holy Wind, which is also another really common card if you're running green. These are like guaranteed to be in there. It's helpful in this deck where its ender ability is draw a card. You can banish and deal 200 damage. So it's nice because if I was to remove anything, I'd probably remove the Rukh Eggs and put in the Blood Boil, which is a 2-cost instant, plus 800 power and defense until end of turn, remove from the game in a turn, or deal 600 damage to opponent. It'd be a nice little play. You'd have Tama in, and you'd swing at them with 2 open mana, so like second turn when you play this first. They go like, well, I'm probably just going to block you with like, let's say Guinevere, who's a 2/4. And then you'd instant Blood Boil on Tama, putting it at 10/10. You get rid of their card. It would die at the end of turn, but because of Lumia's ruler side, where it says at the end of turn, remove target rested Resonator you control from the game and put it back into its owner's field. So it would prevent Tama dying from that Blood Boil. You'd remove it and put it back into play.
Okay. Do you have Blood Boil in this deck?
No, but if I was to put it in, it would replace the Rukh Eggs, most likely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a nice little card. It's also helpful against other Lumia decks because you can instant it and prevent the life gain until end of turn if you deal 600 to the opponent, which is not too bad. In this deck, I don't have it. I couldn't find extras, so there's that. The next Resonator. So these I played 3 of.
Oh, hey, it's my ruler.
Yeah, except like demoted to a creature.
Yeah.
It's still really good though.
Weird how they did that. Did they do? They did that with like everyone except for actually, which ones didn't they do it with?
which I can't think of any.
Because they did it with
ruler who
Featsing.
became a creature.
They did it with Featsing. Featsing
I
became
don't
a
see
ruler.
a Sylvia. Well, she died.
Well, yeah, but she became. I'm talking about creature guys from the previous sets that became creatures.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
she became a creature.
The Cthulhu guy.
Featsing became a creature.
The 1,000 Keys dude.
He didn't become a creature.
Yeah, exactly. So there's one.
So he didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, so I guess only these two then.
Yeah.
Did then. Dude, how sick would Mikage be as a creature?
Let's not talk about that. Mikage is
I
not
wish.
fun. Anyways,
I love Mikage.
So it's a 7/7 for 2. It's not too bad, but its awakening abilities are what you want to pay attention to. So it's kind of hard to see because it's fuller. But so the White Awakening.
Nice bragging there. You can't see it because it's such high quality. It might be the highest rarity.
It doesn't even matter. They're still cheap. Anyways, when this card enters your field, remove target resonator from the game. So like the opponent's resonator. And then in the second line, when this card leaves your field for a non-field zone, put that resonator from the removed area into its owner's field. So that one has an interesting little technicality with it. It pairs really well with, I have a proxy for this card, but I don't actually have it. Interdimensional Vessel Apollo. So its ability of...
It's actually in a really, really big sleeve. That's not a foam.
Yeah,
That's just a really
exactly.
big
It's
sleeve.
just oversized.
It's such a rare card. You can't
It's
even
so
find
great
it.
how I
You can't
find it
find
so easily. It's
Yeah.
like I always get it, you know?
It's a magical sleeve that produces any cards you want inside of it.
It's
One
true.
time he tried shuffling into his deck, I knew exactly where it was. It's weird.
Yeah, don't lie. Anyways, so you get to tap, banish this card, return target resonator to its owner's hand. So how it works is you pay the Awakening for white. This card enters the field, so its remove target resonator ability goes on the stack, and then you would either use the Interdimensional Vessel Apollo or Guinevere, tap, banish a resonator. So it's leaving the battlefield ability would go on the stack above the first one. So this ability to return a resonator to the field would go off first, but there is no resonator, so nothing happens. And then you would just permanently remove that resonator from the game.
Okay, if you folks want to take a second to just like literally pause, let that sink in, rewind, and then listen to what Danny Man just said. And I had a bit of a mild stroke there. Sorry about that, folks. I'm back.
Yeah.
And just listen to what he said like another 5 or 6 times. That would be totally okay because I've listened to this dude explain it probably about 10 times. Yeah. I've read the card. I've scratched my head, smashed my head against the wall, scratched it again, had him explain it to me again. Still doesn't make any sense, but apparently he did the research and
That's
it works.
if you want to get really technical. It's not necessary. I've literally never had to do that. No offense.
Oh, wow.
The second ability is when this card enters your field, if you pay an extra red on top of the 2, to play a fire or light chant with total cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its cost. So that's just the utility card. I mostly just use it just for the flipping of the ruler or judgment. So the next one is my favorite card in the deck. It is 4 of Interdimensional Monarch Gill Lapis.
I've always been a big fan of Gill, hey?
No, I've always wanted to make an actual like the ruler, make the Gill deck or whatever, but I've never had.
It's okay. He's coming out in the next.
Yeah, the red-black version, which ironically this card is weird, hey?
It's like they planned that. It's like somebody in Japan's like, ooh.
It's almost like they're thinking ahead of time, maybe.
Maybe.
Anyways,
You know, maybe they just looked at the old card and be like, what if we made it like this dude?
that's probably what it is. Anyways, so it's a 6/7 for 3, not too bad. So these shift cards, just for quick little information here, they have to be this side up with the shift ability showing. They can't be on this side. So Rukh Egg can't search for this card, sadly enough. That's why I was thinking about probably removing them. So when this card enters your field, search through your deck for a 12 Apostle. There's only 4 of, but 1 12 Apostle really. And or a card named Ataractia, Dimension of the Seven Kings. I don't play that card because it sucks.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, the flip side says you win the game if you pull off the stupid little combo. But
it's super convoluted and difficult to do.
It'll take like 20 turns.
Yeah.
Then shuffle your deck and you put that card in your hand. You get to discard a 12 Apostle at any time, but we only have 4, so I don't really pay attention to that ability. I almost never play this side. Gets +4/+4 target attack until end of turn. So you could technically play it on this side, right? And then discard, like if you have multiple of the 12 Apostle we have in your hand, you only need one. You can discard all but one, get that bonus, and then pay the 4 to shift it, and that +4/+4 target attack remains because it says this card gains +4/+4.
Okay, is that the one that it's summoning, or does it go into the Gill?
It has an ability. So let's say I have 4 12 Apostles in this deck. Let's say I have like 3 in my hand. I could discard 2 of them, get +8/+8 in target attack, then pay the 4 to do the shift ability, shifting it to this side, and then it would be, you know, that extra attack and defense would transfer to this side essentially because it's the same card.
Okay, but it's on the Gill. It's not on the other 12 Apostles.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
cool.
then this side says, when this card enters your field or shifts, choose one. You may pay 0 to play a shift ability of target card in a field rather than pay their cost.
Wait. But what do you pay 0?
What?
It says you may pay 0.
Oh.
How much do you pay 0?
You just pay nothing. You just play it for free. Shift a card for free.
But then why would she do us any favors?
Just don't ask questions. It's just what it does.
I mean,
anyways, I almost never use that ability either. So the next ability is you get to put a 12 Apostle from your hand into your field. It gains swiftness until end of turn. Remove it from the game at end of turn. So I love that ability. It only sucks when you're playing against 0 because it removes swiftness, so you can't have a tap.
Do you know why? Because you're not paying her. You're not paying 0.
Yeah.
If you pay her, she'll leave you alone.
So, anyways, so this card, I always play for the red side. It'll let you bring in the next card for free, and the swiftness lets it tap. Lumia would bounce it in a turn because it's tapped, making it so it actually doesn't get removed from the game from Gill's ability. So they happen at the same time, the end of turn ability. So you choose the order, right? So you choose Lumia's ability.
That's kind of janky, don't you think?
Is.
Choosing order?
Yeah, because they happen at the same time, right?
Okay.
So you choose what would happen. So you make Lumia's ability go off, the end of turn, remove, put back into play if it's rested. That's why you need the swiftness. You need to be able to tap it, right? So against 0, that kind of sucks because you can't do it. So it really slows down this deck. Another thing, counters really mess with this deck because you would probably tap out to play this. So Wall of Wind or Seal would really screw you over. But I have one card here to kind of help with it. It doesn't help perfectly, but it helps.
Okay. And how many of the Gills are you running?
I run 4 of these, and then I run 4 of the only 12 Apostle in the deck, which is Dimension Dragon Nidhogg. So it is a 12 Apostle / Dragon, 12/12 flying for 6, but I don't ever pay the 6. When this card enters your field, remove all Resonators your opponents control with the lowest total cost among Resonators your opponents control from the game. So this enter ability, if you play it with Gill and you end up being able to swing with it, will happen twice. It'll happen from when it enters, you swing because this gives it swiftness until end of turn, and then at end of turn, it would leave the game, come back in,
do it all over again.
And it usually goes like they're 1-drops, they don't always have 2s, and then probably they're 3-drops or whatever, I find.
And this would be like amazing against your Turbo Guinevere Feathsing deck because
it just remove all tokens.
Get rid of all the tokens on the field because technically they have a cost of 0, and then after that they could wipe out the next big thing, which will either be your Adam Brawley
or Guinevere,
or even Titania if it's at that point in the game. It depends on what they have on the field.
There's usually a big gap in between, which is really nice. So the next card is we start getting into the Regalia of the deck. So I have 4 Excalibur, the God Sword. So gives target attack or precision now. You get to tap it to add +200/200 until on a turn. And it's a nice little mana increaser because you're able to discard. So you have one of these in play, and if you draw another one, you can discard it to produce a white mana. Or will until on a turn. And then you can banish it in time to give imperishable, but she comes with a perishable if you remove that Nyarlathotep from the game. So 4 of these. Now we're going into that interdimensional vessel Apollo that I talked about earlier. So I would have 3 if I had it, but they're almost impossible to find. So what it does is you get flying on your J ruler, which is amazing.
You've got a ruler that's really buff, keeps getting stronger from all your other Regalia and all that stuff. And life gain. Yeah. Like, I mean, even when we had our few matches earlier on, just having him, like, he played it one time where he got the ruler out as quickly as possible, and the other 2 times he played with not really running the ruler as actively. but as soon as he gets this thing onto the field and he starts swinging, how much did you start off? Like 16? You were starting to like gain 16?
You took away 16 from me, and I ended up just gaining it right back.
Yeah, so like when he gets all of his buffs from all of his Regalia on the field, he's going to be gaining at least like 12, 14, 16, 18, just keep stacking every single turn. So even if you are ridiculously like aggro and you're chipping away at his life, you'll almost never be able to keep up with it unless you can deal with Lumia herself.
Yeah, so
and giving it flying,
I find that what helps is like playing green against the deck. So like you're gonna have a tough time against.
You're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a bad time.
Counter heavy decks or like that one card that like if you torrent it removes all Regalia additions, that'll really hurt it. Stuff like that. So
Holy Wind or something?
Yeah, something. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but like you're gonna, if you go against green, it's gonna, if they're playing counters and they're playing removal, it's gonna be tough, but not too bad. So anyways,
flying is good.
Flying, and then I don't really use the Produce Moon mana ability. So the second one, tap the card, banish it, return target Resonator to its owner's hand. Just helps to save something that might die, or to do that little combo with Nyarlathotep if you already have one removed and you don't need it anymore, the second one. So next one is we have a one of Deathscythe, the Life Reaper. So your opponent's Jade Ruler loses Imperishable and Swiftness. This is really tough against Lumia. It just completely takes away anything that's good about her other than the life gain. And then you can tap it to, you know, add 200 until end of turn. And if it hits the grave, you can remove cards from your grave to put it back in your hand.
Yep, and we haven't gone over the stones yet, but if you guys haven't gotten the theme yet, there is Ruler's Memoria in this, which is the reason why we're rocking how many, like...
Regalia, and she's pretty strong for like a Regalia ruler.
Yeah, so
next card,
Regalia.
3 of. These are in here to take care of counters or removal cards, like those green, remove Regalia.
Or if somebody decides to sideboard the Black Moonbeam.
Yeah. Black Moonbeam is not a huge deal. If they have Deathscythe and Black Moonbeam, that's a problem.
Yeah, or I mean, like, just because you're only running 2 of those Nameless or whatever, right?
3.
Oh, you run 3.
Yeah,
so there's a chance you might not see it, and you're like, I need to flip this ruler, and I need to start gaining life, or I'm going to lose now.
Yeah.
So,
so
either way, it deals with that.
These 3 to remove anything that's like counters or whatever.
And they give you 1/1 counters. You forgot to do that during our match.
Yeah, but I find that blinking, it's going to end up going away anyways. That's why I didn't do it. Because once they leave the game, the counter goes away, and they come back, and so there's no point, really. So I have 4 Blood on the Mikage. These are one of my favorite cards, along with Blood Boil, in this deck. This comes from the black Lapis Cluster starter deck. So for 1, target J/Resonator gets +8/+8 in precision until end of turn. At next end of turn, destroy it. So with Lumia, you don't really care because she's imperishable, right?
Yeah.
So this helps to add that extra life, because the more damage she does, the more life you gain.
This card is amazing.
Or you put it onto a Resonator who is going to swing, and then you end up removing it from the game at end of turn with Lumia's ability, and then it comes back and it doesn't actually get destroyed from Blood on Mikage. So this next card is 3 of Faria's Summoning. So this is really good for finding Nyarlathotep if you want to flip, for finding Gill if you want to cheat in a Nidhogg, or finding the Nidhogg for Gill to cheat in. So this also pairs really well with Nyarlathotep. So Nyarlathotep's ability of the red is to play a light or fire chant with total cost 3 or less without paying its cost. So you can end up playing her for white, red, and an extra red to play this. This comes in for free, and with its Torrent ability, since you played Nyarlathotep before it, you get to untap a stone, so you basically played it for free. So that's a nice little combo there.
And you're running 3 of those?
Yep, 3 of those. And I think that is it for the cards of the deck. For the stone lineup,
Magic Stones.
we have 4 of Ruler's Memoria. Really handy to make the color balance equal. And if you're playing Regalia, you might as well. 4 of Magic Stone of Blasting Waves, red-green. Just helps playing the Tama and just the Faria Summoning, and it's just reliable. You could go 3 and 3, 3 of those and 3 of these. Not super necessary to have 4 of those, but anyways, Awaken Magic Stone, the Earth, is her Lumia's stone. So if your J Ruler isn't Faria, Lumia. This comes invested unless you pays 300, so we don't have to deal with the 300 damage to us. And then when you do Judgment of a Light Ruler, recover this card. So it's almost like just reducing the cost of the ruler, which is really handy. And yeah, that's basically it. So it's just a little combo with the Gill Lapis and then Regalia to make Lumia punch you in the face really hard.
Yeah, this deck is actually quite amazing. You can probably notice by my voice that I'm a little bit more serious in this episode because, you know, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
And
Batman's
I am Batman's utility belt.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess I'm just salty about how badly I lost against this deck. I'm just super salty.
It's okay.
Okay, guys, remember, as always, drop Dayman and I a line there in the comments.
If you could think of anything that'll help improve it, or
yeah, like if you can come up with anything good to replace those Rukh Eggs with, aside from what Dayman came up with, or if you guys can just, you know, drop some hate and be like, yo, my freaking Soul deck could absolutely destroy this deck. Get wrecked.
Gotta love Soul. Actually, the problem with Soul is if the opponent ends up gaining life before you pull off the Volga combo with Steam Explosion,
then
they run out of steam.
Look at those puns.
So this is actually decent if you play very aggressive against the Soul deck. You can, you know, use your Nameless Mist to remove those key ancient magic cards from their hand, and just start gaining life before they can deal with that 40 damage.
Yeah, and I guess the moral of today's little deck profile episode was that even friends can fight, but in the end, one of them's gonna have to give up and then become a resonator.
Just
I guess.
Take that demotion. Take that.
Okay, guys, we'll check you out in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.